The establishment of a new U.S. air defense cell in Qatar is textbook 20th century protocol. It projects kinetic strength while adversaries are planning a non-kinetic kill shot. The media fixates on missiles and bases, which is the intended distraction. The mathematical certainty is that the primary attack vector is not loud, it is silent. Analysts at RUSI confirm 97% of all global data, including trillions in daily financial transactions, travels through a few hundred fiber optic cables on the ocean floor. The solvency of the entire Western fiat model, which Ray Dalio states is already in trouble because money is debt, source number 3, runs through these vulnerable conduits. The parallel vector is orbital. Reports from CSIS detail asymmetric capabilities for reversible blinding, using ground-based lasers to temporarily disable critical imaging and communication satellites without creating debris. The objective isn't destruction, it's induced paralysis. No GPS, no secure comms, no high-frequency trading signals. This is the blueprint for creating the blind Leviathan, a superpower with unmatched kinetic force, rendered informationally deaf and financially paralyzed. An adversary doesn't need to trigger a credit default when they can simply sever the digital arteries that service the debt. When Jamie Dimon warns of a looming global crisis, source number 1, he is describing the consequence, not the cause. The cause is an opponent who understands the first shot is not a missile, but a data packet that fails to arrive. The motive is not expansion, it is survival. For a state actor like Russia, a prolonged unpopular war is the ultimate domestic liability. CSIS analysis confirms that such kinetic campaigns drain the treasury and erode public consent, creating a solvency crisis at home. When the state's balance sheet is underwater, it cannot afford a symmetric, dollar-for-dollar conflict with a superior economic power. Weakness forces a pivot. This pivot is not random. It is a calculated response to a known vulnerability. The adversary has read the same documents we have. They listen when Ray Dalio states that all fiat currencies are in trouble and that fundamentally, money is debt. This is not an economic theory. It is operational intelligence. It signals that the Western financial system is the softest target. The strategic logic is irrefutable. Why engage in a high-cost kinetic exchange when you can attack the systemic solvency of your opponent? The objective shifts from destroying military assets to triggering a credit default. This is the blueprint of asymmetric economic warfare. Leverage the enemy's debt against them. The first shot is not a missile. It is a meticulously engineered liquidity crisis. The Western response protocol is a lagging indicator, reacting to the last war, not the current one. While adversaries weaponize financial instruments, the Pentagon announces a new air defense operations cell in Qatar. This is a kinetic solution to a solvency problem. It is building a taller castle wall when the attack is an algorithm designed to bankrupt the kingdom. This incentivizes an inescapable cycle of escalation. The adversary, facing its own solvency crisis, launches an asymmetric financial attack. This provokes a costly, debt-financed kinetic response from the West, which further weakens Western solvency. This weakness then becomes the prime target for the next, more potent, asymmetric attack. The global crisis Jamie Dimon warns of is not a future event. It is the mechanism already in motion. The kinetic cost curve has inverted. The Royal United Services Institute, or RUSI, codifies the new battlefield calculus. A $5 million main battle tank is now a target for a $500 first-person view drone. This is not a tactical anomaly. It is an economic kill chain. We are witnessing the terminal phase of what analysts call the democratization of violence, the systemic collapse of the cost barrier to project lethal force. While conventional doctrine, evidenced by new air defense cells in Qatar, focuses on intercepting high-cost missiles. Our adversaries are exploiting a new arbitrage. The objective is not to win a symmetric engagement. It is to impose a mathematically unsustainable cost on the defender. For every dollar they spend, the Western fiat model must generate hundreds in debt-fueled defense contracts to counter it. This is not warfare. It is a forced solvency crisis executed with off-the-shelf electronics. The regional instability you are witnessing is not chaos. It is a calibration. These sectors, from the strained power grids in South Africa to the frozen logistics in Canada, are not the core problem. They are the designated gray zones, proxy laboratories for economic warfare. While legacy systems deploy kinetic assets like the new Air Defense Operations Cell in Qatar, adversaries are exploiting a deeper vulnerability. The systemic insolvency of the fiat model, articulated by Ray Dalio, confirms that money is debt. This is not a philosophy. It is the primary attack vector. Analysts at RUSI confirm this protocol. Use these proxy laboratories to test the kinetic cost of a non-kinetic attack. An adversary can trigger a localized supply chain failure for pennies on the dollar, forcing a multi-billion-dollar kinetic response. This is asymmetric leverage, bleeding a system already facing a solvency crisis. This staging ground is how they perfect the blueprint for a larger event. As Fair Observer notes, the potential for economic collapse is a known accelerant for a global order change. Each regional probe measures reaction time, political will, and financial breaking points. The mathematical certainty is this: the endgame is not occupying territory, but triggering a systemic credit event. The warnings from Jamie Dimon of a global crisis are not about a hypothetical future. They are about the launch on warning status of the financial system. The gray zones are simply where the final targeting coordinates are being confirmed. The launch on warning doctrine is not a strategy. It is a piece of pre-written code for doomsday. It mandates a full-scale nuclear retaliation the instant that early warning systems detect an inbound missile volley. There is no time for human deliberation. The protocol is automated to circumvent decapitation of the command structure. This protocol, however, contains a systemic flaw. It assumes the integrity of the data feed. An adversary that cannot compete kinetically understands this. The primary vector is not a missile. It is a targeted cyber attack designed to blind the satellite and radar network. This induces the fog of digital war. The commander is now forced to make a zero-sum decision based on corrupted or absent data. He cannot trust his sensors, but the protocol's logic remains. CSIS reports confirm that the entire kill chain, from detection to launch, is vulnerable to digital infiltration. The fear of a successful first strike forces his hand. The doctrine incentivizes launching on a ghost signal over waiting for confirmation that may never come. Kinetic assets, such as the new U.S. Air Defense Cell in Qatar, source number 4, become irrelevant if the command and control network is compromised. This is the endgame of asymmetric warfare, not to destroy the asset, but to force the owner to destroy himself. The establishment of a new Air Defense Operations Cell in Qatar is a lagging indicator. It is a protocol designed for the last war. The current threat vector is not kinetic. It is a solvency crisis. Adversaries understand the mathematical certainty articulated by figures like Ray Dalio. All fiat currencies are in trouble. The primary target is not a military asset. It is the credit system itself. The vulnerability is systemic and openly acknowledged. As reported by TheStreet.com, Jamie Dimon warns of a global crisis. Ray Dalio states with clinical precision that money is debt and, per AOL.com, predicts a major devaluation cycle. This is not a forecast. It is an admission of a pre-existing condition. The Western fiat model is no longer a source of strength, but a critical liability. A zero-sum leverage point for any actor capable of engineering a liquidity event, hastening the global order change analysts at Fair Observer see on the horizon. An asymmetric response is therefore incentivized. The objective is not destruction, but dislocation. The most effective protocol is an attribution impossible calibration, shot to test systemic fragility and response times. Within the next 12 months, anticipate a non-kinetic disruption of a critical logistics node. The target will be the operational software of a primary maritime shipping terminal, like Long Beach or Newark, triggering a cascading shutdown that freezes billions in trade. It will be classified as a complex technical failure, but it is the first shot.